In this video, we're just going to talk about giving some simple tips on how to get the organ running in the event that it won't start. Typically these organs have been sitting around for many years. If it's like this one, it sat in a home for a good 10 years without being turned on. It was oiled once during that 10 years, but if it's not turned on, things can stick, things can get stuck. In our situation, when we hit the start switch, it would turn and the tone generator would spin the way it was supposed to, but then it would only last about 2 or 3 seconds, and then it would slow down and bind up and it would stop. We talked to a lot of people. Some said take the scanner apart, some said do some other things, but what ultimately ended up working was oil. And all we did was oil the organ where it's supposed to be oiled. There's an oiling port here. There's 2 on the top of the tone generator. There's one here, and there's another one back here behind the presets wirings, preset panel. And go ahead and put, depending on how long it's been, if the organ hasn't been oiled for at least a year, fill those cups up twice. It's just a matter of a quick squirt. Let the oil run down, give it another squirt, let it run down. Don't over oil it. It's going to take some time for that oil to filter down through the wicks, through the cotton oil wicks, but once it does, the organ will probably start. It may take some time. Now, there's a third place to oil, and that third place to oil is over here, and there's a tray right here, and this tray has a sponge or a felt pad in it. And you want to just wet that. Don't soak it. Don't over oil it. If it's already wet, you can touch it with your fingertip. Touch it lightly. If oil's on your finger, then there's plenty of oil in there. Don't fill it. I can't stress that enough. Just a couple drops on that felt pad should be enough. What was happening with our particular organ, and it took us a week or 2 to figure out, was this wheel that you see spinning that runs through the center of the tone generator. While it was all lubricated very well, if you look very close right here, there's an oil wick that's supposed to come out of this copper tube, out of this tray, and it comes down and it oils the shaft that this flywheel sits on. Between it and the actual run motor. This is the run motor. Okay? The start motor is at the other end. We'll look at that in a minute. Well, this shaft, if it's not lubricated, it'll still spin, but it may get stuck. If you see here, it's supposed to move freely, about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch left to right. Ours was stuck, and that's what was binding it up. So if yours doesn't move freely like that, go ahead and give a little pull on it in either direction. See if you can free it up, and then drop some oil down there on the shaft, and that should get it going. If the organ still won't start, and that's loose and free, then the next step is let the oil that you put in the tone generator in those cups, let that do its work. Try to start it. If it won't start, leave it alone. Come back tomorrow. Try to start it. If it won't start, leave it alone. Come back tomorrow. Eventually it'll free up and the oil will work its way down, barring the fact that you have other mechanical problems. If there are no other mechanical problems that you're aware of, this process should work. Okay, now we're looking at the right hand side of the organ from the back. This is the right end of the tone generator. This is the start motor, and this shaft as well, that where you see where the pin sticks out. It's kind of hard to see. The pin on the shaft sticks out, but this should move in and out freely as well, and that's a spring loaded. If that doesn't move freely, you may want to free that up. Drop a drop of oil or 2 in there. Don't worry about dropping it on the gears. Be careful, because there's oil wicks that run down on there as well. Now when you start the organ, you hit the actual start switch. It engages the start motor, and that gets the tone wheel up to speed. Okay? This is the other end of the organ, and this is the run motor. And this run motor takes over when you hit the run switch. So I'll show you from this end. When you hit start, You see the start motor gets that tone generator wheel up to speed. Once it levels off, hit run, and this run motor engages. Wait till they're both up to speed and balanced, and then release the start switch, and the organ is up and running. You can see that tone wheel spinning in there, nice and free. Notice how long it spins after it's turned off. It's just because it's well lubricated. Now, I didn't put any oil on there. That's all from the oil that you put in the 2 cups and in that pad. So hopefully that helps and you can get your Hammond organ up and running again.